Welcome back to another Genre Art with JB. I do want to apologize for the belated release date of this video. I have quite a bit going on, being that my move to Vermont is imminent, and sort of getting all things moving related squared away. But the good news is that means I'm putting out 2 videos this week. So this will be the first video, and this is the hand tutorial that I promised you guys, right? So today I'll be going over how to draw the hands. I'm actually going to stand up while I do this and just shift some things around here. But basically, the way I approach the hand is you want to approach the hand from each angle or vantage point of the hand you want to approach in its own way. So we start with the top view of the hand, where we have the top of the bridge of the palm, and then we have the fingers, and then we have the thumb. And I have these nice, really knobby, spindly fingers, right? So it's almost like you're getting the full anatomical cross section there. But with that being said, let's get the show on the road, right? So the first thing I want to do is, when I'm drawing the top of the hand, I want to start by laying in basically a bucket shape or an upside down trapezoid, right? And I just want to draw through, kind of put as much of my arm into it as possible. All right, so I have this trapezoid shape. If I turn it this way, it kind of looks like a trapezoid. Notice how I'm sort of giving a slight curvature to the bottom edge and a slight curvature to the sides here to sort of mirror the silhouette of an actual human hand. And then what I want to do is take this height, multiply it again from the, push that up a little bit. And what you have here now is where your middle finger is going to terminate, right? So from here I have the bridge of the palm, and I have where my longest finger will terminate. Now from here, what I want to do is I want to treat the middle finger and the pointer as one shape. And we have this rectangle to start. Now what I want to do is just take a slice out of the rectangle, going from my top right to bottom left. So I cut out basically an isosceles triangle. And then I want to come down from this edge. I want to pop out and lay in another isosceles triangle. But notice how on the sides, the outer edges that form my silhouette, I'm always curving those edges, right? So that's something you want to keep in mind and consider as you're going through this and drawing the hand. Next thing I want to do is I want to come in and I want to cut an isosceles triangle out of this section of my trapezoid. I'm going to keep these sections roughly parallel. I might even want to bring it up a little bit, right? Let's come in and fix that with my kneaded eraser. So, next thing I want to do is I want to just lay in the other shapes of my hand here. So what I'm going to do is actually come down in a curve about, let's say a little more than halfway down, right? 2/3 of the way down. So we have 1/3, 2/3 going across, and I want to cut that up. And basically I have now a pretty convincing silhouette of a hand. And what I want to do is just reinforce this area as a triangle. So I'm just gonna shade this in. And what I'm doing is I'm just indicating the base graphic shapes, right? Now what I want to do is I want to come in along this knuckle line here. I want to make a knuckle, and I'm coming in and I'm drawing a line bisecting this shape that I've created here. And I'm going all the way in a C curve across the whole plane of my hand here. Then what I can do is do a wireframe. And I can lay in my other hands. Cut this down a little bit. I also may want to cut this in. Basically, you can see how I can start to carve out the hand here, right? And the secret is whatever is coming in front cuts in. And a little bit of comparative anatomy does help in this regard. Right now what I'm doing is just nailing in my silhouette. Right, so that's an example of fairly quick example of how I would, you know, do that top of the hand, right? I can bring this down. Can lay in my knuckles. And there you have it. There you have a fairly convincing human hand, right? You just want to watch that width too. The hand is actually quite narrow. So I know I skipped a few steps here, but what I'll do is I'll try and do sort of a geometric version first, and then I'll do sort of a more referential version next to this. And then I'll go into how to, you know, do the finger as well. So now that I've given you sort of an abridged version of how I'd arrive at the basic kind of silhouette and form of the hand here, I'll come across and do a more geometric version to start. So again, first we start with our trapezoid. This time I'm going to make it a little thinner. I'm anticipating my hands flaring out a little bit, my fingers rather flaring out, so I'm going to sort of do a guideline going off in that direction towards my top right corner. And I'm going to come across, give myself plenty of real estate for this thumb. And I know again my thumb is going to terminate right with that first knuckle line here. So I want to mask that in pretty quick. I'm going to come in and actually take out an isosceles triangle right here where this point meets the center of the bridge of my palm. That's where my middle finger will extend up again about a little more than or just about the height of the bridge of my palm. Basically the height of the bridge of my palm and change. And then I want to cut this in. I want to start to lay in the rest of my fingers here in wireframe. I'll just tweak this edge a little bit. Pop up. And then I'm popping in a little bit, coming in to get this wireframe here for my thumb. We can extend this down to get the wrist. And we can also sort of work on cutting that in, but that's basically the basic geometry of the hand if we're looking at it from the top, right? So you're getting that one-to-one. And if we're abstracting this, the base shapes equal trapezoid. And then we're getting, from the trapezoid, you can actually even go up here and sort of do like a rectangle with a slice shaved out. And then you can do this sort of shape and a triangle, right? So that's sort of the different ways you can view the hand, right? We have the symbolic way, right, where we're breaking everything down into its simplest geometric shapes, and from there we can bisect this plane to get our knuckles in there. And then what we have is we have the wireframe view of the hand, if we're looking at the bridge of the palm, and then, excuse me, allergies. My allergies are a doozy today. And if we're looking at it with just getting the silhouette on top of the wireframe, we come up with something that looks generally like this, where sort of our tension points are cutting in if they're in front of whatever's behind us, right? So this pointer finger is coming in front of the thumb, this part of the thumb here, so it cuts into the thumb. This top of the thumb as it bends in, cuts in front of the body of the thumb, so at this tension point, this line cuts in right in front of this line. So you want to just bear that in mind as you're going through the hand, right? And then if I were to apply this now, I'll do a third version down here. We'll kind of go into a complete version of the hand, and then I'll go into how you would do the individual fingers over here. So let's do that again. I'll show you in real time how to apply this knowledge up here. Get my trapezoid in there. Try isosceles triangle. Anticipate the thumb flaring out, or the pinky flaring out rather. Anticipate leaving room for your thumb. And I come up about a fourth of the way up the, if I'm doing the bridge of the palm into thirds rather, I can come up about a third of the way to find the knuckle for this pinky here. And then from there I can just do a line across. I can take this height, again multiply it around the same height once again to get the middle finger. And then once I have my knuckle line, again, I can snake that all the way across. I can find where my thumb is going to terminate. We can take that in a little bit. Coming across here, across here, across here, and because the bridge of the palm is actually curved, there's less space right here, right between these two knuckles. So there's a little bit more of a gap. You can kind of think about it like this as well. We can flare this out a little bit. Find my next two knuckles. And what I'm doing is I'm coming in, finding the thumb, just like so. Now before I proceed further with this, what I want to do is go into how you construct the individual fingers, right? So as I navigate around my sniffles here, I'll attempt to do that. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. So again, how do I get from here to a complete hand, right? I have my wireframe. I've got the shapes mapped out basically, right? I could even come in and sort of, if I want, find this shape and then cut across and find this plane here, right? So I can get my complete sort of silhouette in there. From here, how would I find the fingers? Well, so let's start with the pointer finger right here. If I wanted to come across and just do a little demo on this pointer finger, this is what I would do. I would come across and I would start with a circle. This indicates the sort of first knuckle coming off the bridge of the palm, right? Then what I'd do is make a line. I'd come up, do a slightly smaller circle. From here, what I would do is I'd make a baseball game peanut. I want to connect the two circles to form that baseball game peanut, like a peanut you get at a baseball game, like a Yankee game, right, or a Met game. Then what I want to do is do another circle, come around this edge, come up, and do another smaller baseball game peanut. And connect it once again. And I know that's drooping a little this way, but for the sake of argument, let's just assume that it's sort of straight there. And this is actually a method that I picked up from studying Todd McFarlane. This is how Todd McFarlane would do fingers. It's a pretty cool method. Next thing I want to do is come in and do a little thimble shape for the top of the finger here. That's where the nail would go, and then I can go in and sort of find the silhouette of the finger and come down and get the webbing and all that good stuff and have it cut in or whatever. Come in, find that tendon under the knuckle, right? So that's basically how I would find the individual fingers once I have the basic shape of the hand mapped out. Right, I can cut this in. You could even apply this right here. Now this doesn't bend up here, but I can lay that in just as a placeholder for, you know, where my where my knuckle area might begin. It has a little bit of a bend to it, I suppose. Can flare this out. From here, what I can do is cut this in. I can come in, come down and find that wrist. Right. You can come in here. And this is more comparative anatomy. But if you wanted to mass in some of the plane of that wrist there, you'd go flush up here and you kind of end up with like sort of a trapezoidal shape. Just like so. Right? Alright, so let's mass in the rest of these fingers here. Coming up. Just want to indicate that knuckle subtly. And again, I can come in and sort of find the other tension points around here. Pinky is going to be super, it's not going to really have much to it. This kind of cuts in usually a little bit right along that sort of sketch line that I masked in. You can find that there's like a little tendon that comes in your along your pinky. It kind of cuts right in. And then again, things that are in front cut in. So while we want to indicate that webbing on your hand, we also want to make sure that we're not pushing the webbing too far up, too far down here. Go right up. And cutting in. pop that out a little bit. From here, it's just a matter of finding the silhouette, right? So everything starts from this place, right? From this place right here. Getting this structure and getting it correct from the get-go in your rough stage is super important, because 90% of your drawing problems are going to happen in the rough stage of your drawing. A lot of artists, especially younger artists, they tend to skip the rough construction phase and want to rush right to the details. But the details really are inconsequential. The details sort of fix themselves. We can just position that knuckle over a little bit. Right? I mean, if you're always going to need to make small sorts of changes just on the fly. But by and large, you shouldn't be doing anything drastic in terms of like changes by the time you get to your final version. And then from here, what I could do is I could come in, find my nails. Now you just want to hint at the nail generally. Just like with the eyes, you want to hint at, like, you know, the parts of the eye that form one shape. You don't want to draw your entire nail in there necessarily. The hand becomes very abstract when viewed from a certain distance. And it's really, again, just like with anything else, about shape language, shape relationships. We're seeing more of the side plane and the thumb over here. And so there you have it. I mean, that is basically the construction of the hand. We can come in now and we can find some of these individual sort of tendons, right? Now, for this, I wouldn't over-render. I would kind of just... yeah, if you want to sort of... just because most people don't have crazy bony hands like me. Kind of come in a little bit there. Can erase out. We get a little bit of a fold of skin going that way. This comes up. Right. Coming in, just finding that. And this is something they make you do a lot of this at Pratt, just drawing the hand. You see, even there I'm over-rendering a little too much. Just coming in here. Just kind of cutting all this out. Just getting the hinting at the knuckle here. Clean up this area a tiny bit. And there you have it. There is my rendition of the human hand. Let's just look at it from each angle. I think that's pretty good. Maybe I want to beef out this wrist a tiny bit here. But generally not bad, right? So let me just recap real quick before we end for today. Right, we started with discussing the wireframe and the basic abstract shapes of the hand. And then from there, we find our silhouette. Once we find our silhouette, we construct the individual fingers, and I use the Todd McFarlane method for doing that. It's a book. You can look it up. It's called The Art of Todd McFarlane, and he goes into how to construct the fingers in that book. It's a very invaluable book, especially for inspiring comic artists. It really helped me a lot in a lot of ways when I was trying to get my anatomy to be more dynamic. And of course, I sort of used that to learn synergistically while I was studying Loomis and Bridgman later on. And combining the sort of dynamism of McFarlane with the sort of anatomical correctness of Bridgman, I think, is a really good way to go when you're trying to just get your construction down. This is sort of, before you would really, I would say, be concerning yourself too much with finding a style. You want to just really start from a solid place. And I do think Loomis, again, this channel, we evangelize Loomis a lot, is a very solid place to start. But from here, you would then apply all of these principles to drawing your hand, and this is the hand from the top view. We'll go into some more sort of dynamic hand videos. I'll most likely put out a video tomorrow. It is currently May 10th, so May 11th I'll be putting that video out tomorrow, rapid fire style. You'll be getting 2 videos this week. But, as always, I want to thank my subscribers for supporting me and for tuning into these tutorials. I love sharing my knowledge with you, and I love seeing people grow through the sharing. So until next time, ciao, and have a good day.